What's going on, guys? It's your boy King Judah back with another video. This will be the third and final installment of the three-part series of Spence versus Crawford. Be sure to check out part 1 and 2 of this series if you haven't already. Today I will give a detailed assessment of how each fighter's strengths match up against the other weaknesses. I will also give my final prediction of how I see the fight playing out. So put your mouthpieces in, keep your guard up at all times, and step inside the square circle with King Judah. Let's go! Even though both fighters are evenly matched, somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. Taking advantage of their opponent's weaknesses will be the key to victory in this one. The first fighter I see imposing their strengths is Errol Spence, using the jab. We covered earlier that Spence has one of the best jabs in boxing, and definitely the most active jab in my opinion. Multiple fights, Crawford has been bothered by an active jab, struggling to get around it. Behind well-placed jabs is also where I see Crawford being hit the most. If a good jab truly is something Crawford struggles with, Spence's jab can become a nightmare on fight night. Combined with the fact Spence uses it to blind opponents from the power shots that follow, Spence's jab can become a deciding factor in this fight.
From Spence in the last round, all set up by that southpaw right jab. He fires a straight left hand. Referee just made a good call. Spence is punishing it.
Spence moves away.
In contrast, I see Crawford's counterpunching being a potential problem for Spence. Spence is overall a fundamentally sound fighter. With this said, he does have a tendency to have mental lapses. One mental lapse that can cost him in this fight is his tendency to lean over in middle range, not close enough to land and not far enough away to be out of his opponent's punching range. This can be a problem because this middle range is where Crawford thrives. This is the range Crawford implements his deadliest weapon, counterpunching. This can be a deciding factor for Crawford.
Thanks it. There he is again. And he get hurt.
Now the body punches. 28
The two biggest disparities between the two is inside fighting and work rate. Both of these advantages go to Spence. Bud being a slow starter versus Spence's non-stop high-speed output can spell disaster for Crawford. If Bud is down on the cards and is forced to come to Spence for a shot at victory, it would be a hard fight for Crawford to win. I'm hard-pressed to see Crawford taking the fight to Spence in the trenches. Spence is simply one of, if not the best inside fighter in boxing.
He could do. I mean, being up at middleweight, and when you look in the shape that Brook was in at middleweight, he wasn't fleshy.
We have went over all their strengths, weaknesses, and possible scenarios. And now for my final prediction. And the winner is Errol the True Spence Jr. Now before you Crawford fans call for my public execution, this is just my opinion, and I could very well be wrong. I'll tell you how I see the fight playing out. The first 4 rounds will be competitive. Spence will look to establish his jab, forcing Crawford to fight off the back foot. Crawford would be wary of Spence trying to back him into the ropes. Crawford would pivot and turn before he is pinned consistently. Crawford will struggle to establish his offense because of the pressure of Spence. But because of this pressure, Crawford may have some counterpunching opportunities. If Spence is ever able to pin Crawford on the ropes, Expect to see Spence attack the body. Crawford will more than likely attempt to clinch, but Spence will work his way out of this consistently. These moments of Crawford being pinned on the ropes will be when he takes the most damage. The fourth round is the most important because at this point, if Crawford hasn't caught Spence and stopped him, I expect Crawford to be down on the scorecards and take more chances to close the gap. This will work to Spence's advantage. He will no longer have to chase Crawford to close the distance. If Crawford doesn't stop Spence in the fourth, the amount of damage and fatigue he takes will start the slow process of Spence breaking him down. The more Crawford slows, the more he will get hit. Spence's body work would have started to take Crawford's legs away at this point. From here, I predict an 8th-round stoppage for Spence or a unanimous decision. Crawford is great, but his biggest weaknesses, slow starts and weak inside game, happen to be Spence's greatest strengths. I don't see any way Crawford can outscore Spence, so a knockout is his only chance in my opinion. And it will have to come early. Spence has a stamina advantage over everybody he has ever faced in the later rounds. Again, this is just my opinion. It could look totally different on fight night. Do you agree with my prediction? How do you see the fight playing out? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Give the video a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And remember, put your mouthpieces in, keep your guard up at all times, and step inside the square circle with King Judah. Until next time, we out.